Chapter 11. The Giant Humans and the Great Tartarians. Nothing mattered around here more than all this information I was receiving from Shikai. It was incredible just to imagine where I was, and that a surviving gladiator, who had also helped our ancestral humanity to survive, was telling me in great detail about the true human history. Shikai then continued. These men, animated with the vital energy of the source, began to increase in numbers as well as technology. First, they based their technology on race development and welfare, although later they came to develop defense weapons, but they never reached the same custodial level. One fateful and dark night, the custodians penetrated the known lands and found abundant gold and other minerals. In their eagerness, they traveled through every point of these lands, arriving to discover outside the first dome, between a zone of high mountains, the famous lands of Asgard, and with them they also collided with the humans living there. This group of custodians were surprised by light defense weapons that attacked and automatically pulverized the enemy, igniting an alarm to the other lands inhabited by humans. What was feared was really happening, and by then the energy of the celestial lands that animated bodies of human beings was not prepared to face them. Family, this sounds a lot like Stargate SG-1, so go check that out. Go check out especially the first season, and when they first, I think third, fourth, somewhere between the third and sixth episode. No, maybe it wasn't first, it was second season, and they traveled to Asgard. Anyway, let's keep going. Moreover, the custodians outnumbered the humans by 1,000 to 1. Then a few days later, the inevitable happened. Humans surrendered to them. This was the beginning of a great nightmare that would last until the present day. But why didn't they behave as on other worlds, where looting as many minerals as they needed was enough to march on? Simply, they tried to send humans. They tried to send humans to the celestial lands as a test. It was not strange to think so, since they had tried it also with other races. And although the human bodies burned as soon as they entered these lands, they noticed how this energy that lived inside them always went directly to the celestial lands, no matter where this body met death. Family, look at that. The celestial lands sounds like it's where your spirit comes from. Sounds a lot like the Bible if you do your studying, if you do your research. I ain't talking about becoming religious. I'm just talking about getting an understanding. You know, as the Bible talks about shedding the flesh of this world to reveal your true body, your spiritual body, the energy you. This body's just an avatar. It's not real, family. And that just said it right there. It's clear as day. In this way, the custodians and Anunnaki have been studying the human being since ancient times. All that effort and development to enter these lands now turn to the possibility that through the humans, as the fundamental vehicle, it could be achieved. But there was a missing connector that was not simple at all. And this was the power to manipulate these souls or energy that left the human bodies. But that was never possible. At first, they performed the ancient and cruel colonization of lands carried out by these beings in a general way. Most of the population is annihilated, leaving only their newborn babies. Then comes the education necessary to give the new colonized the purpose of function that the custodians desire. This attempt to use humans to enter such lands led to countless numbers of beings dying senselessly. In fact, in past resets, led to the sacrifice of many humans together to see if they could manipulate this great energy at will. The great and well-known blood rituals by past civilizations. As I was saying, rituals, diseases, catastrophes, they tried everything but nothing worked. They even tried to resurrect bodies and a lot of different things. What happened next is not clear. Some historians say that they simply continued with the control of humanity to continue trying to enter. And others say that they only continue to do so for fear that humans can defeat them, because they see in them a unique and immense potential among the many existing worlds. For this reason, they control them with resets. And then the famous lies in their education shorten their life, create plagues, diseases, and miseries. But you are so important that they are not going to let you go just like that. Because inside of each of you is the source, which is the most important thing and which keeps alive all the other beings in these circles. The giants saw all this from the outside. They never got involved in these wars, but then in time they decided to help humanity as they realized that if the source fell, probably the 178 circle environments will fall as well. Here again, it is not clear whether the custodians tried to use any race of giants for the same mission of accessing the celestial lands, since it is said that they tried all the races they could find among the 178 worlds. After a while, the custodians lost interest in the human, as they began to believe that this energy or soul that came out of the human bodies and returned to the celestial lands were not the same energy, or that failing that, if it was the same, they had no way to manipulate it. Also, the Anunnaki began in a crisis in their environment due to the lack of gold and minerals essential for their development. What to use them? They began to use the newly reset human to be able to extract the gold from the harsh and deep interterrestrial darkness. What better way than to make them believe that they were their gods and that they would have to worship in obedience to what they required? The period of creation of many of the known pyramids was carried out at this time by the humans themselves with the help of custodial technology. These pyramids were nothing more than energy generating centers, which served to control the human and generate catastrophes if they wanted to. They also tried by this means to control souls again in a failed way. The Anunnaki pyramids were deliberately spread over the known lands and the other lands. It was also another ancient way of colonizing lands. They leave pyramids as a form of warning of colonized lands, a kind of badge for any intruder entering without permission. It was known that they feared that some colonizing race, or what would be even worse than them, a race that would liberate the existing colonies, could exist and come from outside the known Great Dome. The custodians and Anunnaki began to confront again, now for control of the known lands, the human being, and specifically the large amount of gold found there. The custodians and Anunnaki began to confront again, now for control of the known lands, the human being, and specifically the large amount of gold found there. The giants took advantage of these inconveniences of the custodians and Anunnaki to be able to enter the lands. Many moved from these same islands and from other lands such as the Free Islands and entered from the north and south of the walls, penetrating the existing dome. The walls surrounding the earth were built by the custodians in the past so that humans would not have the opportunity to reach the inner dome or first dome, since this discovery would expose the falsity of the theory that was preached without discussion, in addition to begin to question several fundamental points of life in the known lands. The possibility of an infinite earth could never reach human minds, as this would open up the environment and awaken the thousands of living energies in human bodies that are numb to the knowledge of their past. Quickly, a great army of giants formed in Central Asia, and others began to mingle with the humans living there. Possibly the ancient giants knew of the source within each human being. Soon these doubled in number, having a great and potent giant human resistance to the inevitable attack that would come from the custodians or Anunnaki when their internal warfare ceased. They continued to confront each other in battles that took place even in their own lands, thus leaving the control of the earth as a liberated zone. These were the boom years of the great Tartary and the technology based on free energy. The control of the lands was almost total, even inhabiting every corner of the lands. It is said that some custodians and Anunnaki saw their pyramids fall without being able to do much, since they had to attend their own war. Little by little, they were losing the control that escaped them like water through their fingers. Okay. that's the end of that chapter, family. We'll get to the next one next time. What else did I see here though? No, there's just interesting information, family. You know, do your research. You know, and honestly, once again, why a lot of this makes sense to me is because I've been studying things like conspiracy theories, biblical history, world history for years, family. And when you do so much studying, watch so many videos, read so many books, after a while your mind starts to connect the dots and everything starts to become connected. You know, but anyway, I'll catch y'all later, family. Be blessed.